Yeah, that's a
No spoilies!
Since 2021, I've been trying to find a way to express exactly why I love James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. It should be an easy feat. The Suicide Squad is a sharply written, dynamically directed, well-acted movie with creative action, likable characters, and actually funny comedy. And no, I didn't just burn through all the points for this essay in 10 seconds, because I know why I love this movie in particular. The Suicide Squad does an exceptional job of understanding what makes its source material work, something loads of comic book movies seem to lose sight of. And so I began thinking to myself that I'd really love to sit down, glue my elbows to the arms of my chair, and not move again until I'd made a video on the importance of understanding your source material, using the Suicide Squad as an example among a wide range of movies and shows that also illustrate this point. But then I found myself losing interest in the project, and I realized that was Gorilla Grodd glue and not likely to release me anytime soon, so I sat there a while and my beard grew longer as I thought to myself, what is it I'm trying to say here? And I got back to the root of what inspired me to spend 6 weeks glued to a chair in the first place: my love for the Suicide Squad. So we readjust, refocus, trim the beard, and reapply that glue, because this will still be a look at the importance of understanding one's source material, but it will be a look at how understanding the source material fixed DC's Suicide Squad problem. I want to talk about this movie and how fucking good it is, so that's what we're gonna do. And while this video isn't going to focus directly on David Ayer's 2016 studio dumpster fire, I will be bringing it up quite a bit, because for as much as Gunn's movie understands exactly what it is, this one
Any other requests?
BET.
really doesn't. So let's get started with our look at the Suicide Squad. So the Suicide Squad is a half sequel, half reboot of the aforementioned Suicide Squad movie. All of the things in that movie happened, some of the actors reprised their roles, but otherwise this is Warner Brothers giving themselves a do-over, and I'm happy to say you don't need to have wasted 2 hours of your life watching a Hot Topic commercial to understand what is going on. This movie follows Task Force X, a group of super criminals released under supervision from Belle Rev.
Old Belle Reeve.
Huh.
No one's ever escaped Belle Rev.
Well, which is it? Anyway, the criminals are sent to the island nation of Corto Maltese, recently toppled by a military coup, to destroy all traces of Jimmy Neutron's science project on behalf of the US government. And right from the start of the movie, Gunn and his team nail the tone and illustrate the concept of the film perfectly. In this movie, people are fucking expendable, and you should not get attached to them. In Suicide Squad, after 50 minutes of music videos, we finally get to see what the movie is about, and it is done in the most transparent way possible. After being told explicitly that if they try to escape, they will be killed, this guy, who I'm just now learning is named Slipknot, just says, "I'm done being in this movie now," tries to escape, and gets brained.
Not a great plan.
Now, a few problems here. First, this dude is the only team member to not get any sort of special introduction, so even Ray Charles could see that this man was a goner. It's so fucking telegraphed, and then no one else dies for the rest of the movie except for Diablo. The bombs in their necks just stop being a plot point altogether later on, it means so little. Over in the good movie, we are shown the concept of the looming danger from the bombs and Amanda Waller's trigger finger in a much more natural and organic way. We follow Savant, played by Michael Rooker, from the opening shot of the film, and we see a few things. We're on our way to a mission, the government agents are placing bets on who's gonna bite the dust, and this cast is fucking huge. You can already start to understand that it's not likely that Pete Davidson is making out of this one alive. So the team makes it to the beach, and immediately we have our first death, and it's played off for a laugh. Yes, I know Weasel is alive in the post-credit scene, but for the narrative purposes of this movie, this is treated as a death, so Weasel your way out of the comment section, bitch. It's revealed Blackguard sold the team out, and then boom, he's dead too. The characters on this first mission are all perfect for the purposes of this scene. Inevitably, there would be fans sad if any real major comic book characters were to die, especially this early in the movie. Hell, I'm still sad they killed Captain Boomerang and he's played by Jai Courtney. But the rest of this team, the Detachable Kid, Javelin, Mongal, dead, super dead. I actually love the inclusion of Mongal, as it confirms the existence of Mongul out there with his war world. Good luck with that, Justice League. And just as the shit is really hitting the fan, Michael Rooker tries to swim back to Marvel and gets domed for abandoning DC. I mean his team. This establishes the premise of the movie so much stronger than its predecessor. On one hand, the writing is just night and day when comparing the two. Here you see that the expendable characters are indeed expendable, the bombs in their necks aren't to be fucked with, and even characters returning from the first movie aren't safe. All points that get brought up again by the end of the movie. All done in a natural, effective, and efficient way. But aside from the vastly superior writing, this is what the Suicide Squad is. I'm not going to be someone who says that comic book characters and stories can only be interpreted a single way, but if you don't nail the core concepts of what you're trying to adapt, then why are you even trying to adapt it in the first place? Yeah, I'm talking to you. So we have this excellent opening to the movie, and then we reveal our real main characters, the actual team that we're going to be following, led by Idris Elba as Bloodsport. He, of course, is joined by the strongest character in the DCEU, Taylor Lautner, Dusty Rhodes, and
John Cena!
These are the ones with the real mission, and it's here that we learn that the squad has to go and destroy something known only as Project Starfish.
Starfish is a slang term for a butthole. Think there's any connection?
Why do you want to know, John?
You know what I do with assholes? I lick them.
Oh. And we continue on and have our little adventure with loads of charming moments. We learn that Project Starfish is actually a study on a mind-controlling starfish alien, thanks to Neo Cortex over here, and after a night of getting drunk with Brad Marchand, the team goes to rescue Harley Quinn from the Corto Maltesian government. And it's in this middle chunk of the movie that you can see how the characters are forced to deal with their main point of challenge, each other. Yes, we have external conflict as well, of course, but how the members of the Suicide Squad interact with each other is the driving force for character development in the film. This is another example of how James Gunn's team's understanding of the Suicide Squad source material helps make this movie A, unique, and 2, a lot more compelling than it would be otherwise. In Suicide Squad, everyone just keeps pontificating about being family or friends or whatever, and it makes the movie so fucking lame.
You mess with my friends.
I lost one family, I ain't gonna lose another one.
You just met the guy yesterday.
We see these characters have one scene hanging out like real people, and it's the best scene in that movie, but it doesn't justify all this talk of family and friends within this narrative. They talk like they're the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's not who the Suicide Squad are. They're their own thing, and that's what the Suicide Squad really gets right. We also have moments of camaraderie like the one in the Gentleman's Club, but the movie doesn't resort to cliched, unoriginal conclusions for the characters to come to. Instead, once again, this iteration of the squad is much more in line with their comic book counterparts. Not necessarily any one particular character, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Ratcatcher 2, but the team is much more accurate. Sure, there are versions of the team where they're all friends. There have been different iterations of the Suicide Squad dating back to the 50s, but considering both of these recent Suicide Squad movies are drawing inspiration from the team's New 52 run, this one is definitely a lot more in line with that. The characters all have very strong personalities and are forced to challenge each other positively and negatively throughout the course of the movie. These are villains with varying degrees of humanity, and they act like it. They don't just say they're bad.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
We see it, and similarly, we see which of them are friends without needing to force this kumbaya bullshit upon us. Bloodsport is the best example of this as the main character. From the beginning, Amanda Waller tells him that she wants him to be a leader, a role that he is initially averse to, but naturally develops into through his relationship with Ratcatcher 2 over the course of the movie. And they don't simply bond because they're teammates, they bond because he sees his daughter in her, which makes sense given what we have been shown about his and his daughter's relationship earlier in the movie. This feels natural, and it actually makes us feel something for them as characters, thus getting us more emotionally invested in their character arcs. But as I said, this effective character work isn't limited to the characters that grow closer together. Bloodsport and Peacemaker's rivalry ultimately escalates beyond petty one-upsmanship to both trying to kill the other when Peacemaker tries to kill Ratcatcher 2. It's a fantastic display of the kinds of villains both men are, and how this conflict builds up to a satisfying emotional payoff.
I use smaller bullets.
What?
They go inside your bullet holes without even touching the side.
You shouldn't have been talking shit.
So the characters are charming, their interactions all reflect the respective levels of don't give a shit, and it advances this very entertaining story in very entertaining ways. But let's get back to the actual plot, because this is where I think you can see the biggest improvement from Suicide Squad. You know, besides the editing and the pacing and the writing, and I could keep going, that movie is such a mess.
I want you to kill him, and I want you to go clear my browser history.
I still think the improvements to the characters are more important to the film, but the adventure they go on is so much better, I find it hard to believe they were even made by the same studio. As I said earlier, the squad gets sent to Corto Maltese to destroy Project Starfish, presumably to prevent ongoing evildoing. Now immediately, this is a much more appropriate mission for the Suicide Squad to go on. They're sent to a foreign nation to perform a covert ops mission while trying not to destabilize the government. They ultimately do take down the government by aligning with the Corto Maltesian freedom fighters, but that goes a long way to show Rick Flag's humanity, which will come into play later. Now compare this to the plot of the first movie, and honestly, even calling it a plot feels generous because this shit is just nonsensical. The Enchantress freaks the fuck out and starts wrecking shop on Midway City, and the squad is sent to the city to give Amanda Waller a ride home.
No, that's not what I'm here for.
So the plan goes awry thanks to Dr. Michael Morbius, and then the plot shifts to lovey-dovey friend time, and then the team goes to stop the Enchantress because Flag loves her. This is not a job for the Suicide Squad. This is a job for the Justice League. This is an end-of-the-world threat with a blue sky beam that is usually reserved for your major superhero team-ups, and as was seen in this movie, most of them are available. The Suicide Squad should be used for morally questionable missions. That's why they're a group of criminals, because they will do things that superheroes won't do. Look at something like the Assault on Arkham animated movie, another example of a Suicide Squad project that nails its story, where Task Force X is sent to infiltrate Arkham Asylum to kill the Riddler. Again, you try to convince Batman to do that for you. Okay, maybe this Batman would, but ignore that. This is what Suicide Squad just completely got wrong. They were so determined to copy the success of Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool that they forgot to make a fucking Suicide Squad movie. Now let's look at the Suicide Squad movie. God, these naming conventions drive me nuts. Already there is a noticeable improvement with the covert plot, but what really made me fall in love with this movie the first time I watched it was the twist at the end. See, because the mission we are briefed on at the beginning of the movie is a good and fitting mission for the squad to go on, we don't even question that there could be more to it. So when the squad finally manages to grab Megamind and get him to the science lab, and he reveals that the team is not there to stop civilian casualty and evil experiments, but rather they are actually there to cover up the United States' part in it, it is a proper twist, and more importantly, it is exactly what a Suicide Squad mission should be. Not only is it the kind of mission that would only be able to be carried out by the most morally questionable of characters, but it is the exact kind of mission that would challenge those characters and their morality. The entire emotional climax of the movie centers around how the team reacts to this information.
Your government sent you here to cover up their part in it.
You're a goddamn liar.
This can't be happening. In America.
And subsequently, how they turn on one another. Rick Flag draws his line in the sand and says he's going to release the information to the public, no longer wanting to be a puppet of the government, and it makes sense. He's not a villain, and he should be the most morally just fellow of the bunch, but that causes conflict with Peacemaker, whose defining trait is that he values peace above all else and doesn't want the information to get leaked out of fear that it will cause a greater international incident. They fight as the building crumbles around them, with Peacemaker killing Flag in the process, only for Ratcatcher 2 to witness it happening and grab the drive herself. See, Cleo doesn't appear to be on board with what Flag is doing at first.
Who are you going to show that to?
Press. Goddamn people deserve to know.
To this point, she's been shown to be the member of the group that is most interested in bonding with her teammates, so when one of them gets murdered right in front of her, it spurs her to make the rash decision to take the drive. Peacemaker quickly catches her and is about to kill her too when he finally comes face to face with Bloodsport, and their rivalry can come to a head.
Ready? Go!
Bloodsport lands the finishing blow on Peacemaker, who does not kick out at 2, and takes the drive for safekeeping, before using the information as leverage to guarantee the safety of the remaining members of his team at the end of the movie, completing his character arc of becoming a proper leader. I love this so much. This movie isn't great simply because it's faithful to its source material. I've seen loads of comic book movies with comic-accurate stories fall flat because producers think putting a few things on screen that make nerds go,
I understood that reference.
is enough to make a movie. But the Suicide Squad is great because it understands why the source material is great, and uses all the best bits of it to tell one of the most entertaining stories I've ever seen in a comic book movie. And none of this even gets into the kaiju big battle that serves as the action movie climax of the movie. It isn't necessarily one of the biggest reasons for my love of the Suicide Squad, but I really appreciate this movie not having any problem getting weird with it. Way too many comic book movies are perfectly comfortable with the most formulaic, by-the-numbers stories and boring-ass final battles, so this movie giving us a mind-control alien starfish kaiju wrecking shop is a nice change of pace. Comic books are fucking weird, with so many unique stories, characters, and monsters, and in an era where we can see movies about a genocidal purple alien or a deadbeat dad who happens to be a planet with a face, I don't think we should be forced to settle for the same old tired blue sky beams or generic nothing happening plots. That's a big part of what makes this movie so fucking refreshing. There is very clearly a lot of inspiration being drawn from comics, and as someone who reads comics, I like that. Hell, it even feels like a comic book with these really cool chapter titles breaking up the different sections of the film. The Suicide Squad uses an acceptably wacky and exciting plot to pay off all of the movie's character arcs in satisfying ways. Bloodsport becomes the leader and also pets a rat. That second part is actually much more significant if you ask me. King Shark gets to bite something, Polka Dot Man gets to become a superhero. I'm a motherfucking briefly. Ratcatcher 2 proves how useful rats are, Harley Quinn figures out what her stick is for. Sure, most of these are fucking ridiculous, but it works, because this is a ridiculous movie. We've seen what happens when a Suicide Squad movie gives its characters nothing to work with regards to its plot. What does Captain Boomerang get out of the story of Suicide Squad? Or Killer Croc?
B-E-T.
Oh, pardon me, that's very important. What about fucking Deadshot, the movie's main fucking character? There's a reason why the only things I can remember about this movie are the bits that get memed on, because this is a movie that leaves the audience feeling nothing. This movie makes me feel so fucking good when I watch it. Yes! When the evil starfish in its dying breath says it wishes it could have just been left alone, I feel something. When Shark Boy is looking out the window of the van, watching all the people experience what he can never have, I feel something. When Gia from Euphoria, no wait, she's a great fucking actor, let me get this right, Storm Reed, Jesus, why aren't you a superhero with a name like that? When she sees her dad saving people on TV and gets emotional that she might not be the spawn of a supervillain, I fucking feel something. I understand why Hollywood has had a fixation on adaptations for so long. You get a prospective film or TV show that has pre-existing fans, and it should be easier to write a script when someone else has already done the legwork of creating characters and a narrative for you. But if you're not going to take the time to figure out what makes the thing you're adapting work and why it has fans in the first place, then maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't be adapting it in the first place. Because when you make an adaptation and don't understand your source material, who is that for? It isn't for the fans who love that thing you've just butchered. You know, the ones this adaptation is supposed to appeal to. Maybe it's just because we have seen so many terrible adaptations over the years, but the Suicide Squad means a lot to me. At the end of it all, it is what a comic book adaptation should be. Maybe not in a literal sense. I don't know if a shark man ripping someone in half would quite fit in the next Spider-Man movie, but I'm not a coward, I'd love to see that too. But it is a movie with care and appreciation for the source material that came before it. The source material that gave it a reason to exist as a movie at all. And of course, a lot of praise needs to be given to James Gunn and his team, not only for understanding what they were working with, but also being able to make such a good movie in general. This movie has so much style and so much character. It's a dynamically shot action movie, a good comedy. It's just everything I want out of a movie like this. And maybe most importantly to me personally, it makes me feel rewarded for spending so much time investing in these comic book stories in the first place.
I'm free!
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you taking the time to check it out. I really have wanted to make this video for years and years at this point, so seeing it get made is pretty darn special to me. Make sure you click the links that are on the screen right here to subscribe to my channel and some of my other unrelated content. Maybe you'll like that too. Let me know in the comments other videos that you would potentially like to see me cover in the future. And stay beautiful, y'all. Love the Suicide Squad. Just kidding, of course he kicked out.